Well, we have some NFL apologies to go over, and one coming from Drew Brees from earlier today for his comments about the national anthem, and the other from Jake Fromm about racist comments pertaining to white privilege and guns. And two different types of apologies. I'll get to Fromm in a second, but I do want to address, Tyler, what Shannon Sharp had to say. And this is a comment from Shannon Sharp about Drew Brees after Drew Brees made an apology.
And Drew Brees still doesn't seem to get it. Now, he issued an apology, Skip, but it's meaningless because the guys know that he spoke his heart the very first time around.
Correct.
Now, I don't know what Drew's going to do, but he probably should just go ahead and retire now. It will never be the same. Take it from a guy that's been a leader in a locker room for a number of years. At every step, Skip, I've been the leader in the locker room. What he said, they're going to like, oh, yeah, no. They will never look at him the same because he spoke his heart and Skip, and what he said, it wasn't what he said, it's how he said it. He was defiant.
Your reaction to that?
Hey, man, everybody's going to feel differently about a lot of things in life right now, and Shannon Sharp very clearly feels strongly about this one. There's a lot of people that feel very strongly about this one. LeBron James spoke out. Drew Brees' own teammates spoke out. Now, many of those teammates have issued further statements after Drew Brees spoke with the team and after he issued his apology, and many of those teammates changed their tone a little bit, but for the most part, they stuck by it. That matter of fact, certain guys, there's guys on the offensive line that have popped out today and said that they wanted to wait until they heard from Drew Brees before they put out any sort of statement. And they said, now that we've heard from him, yes, it was very wrong. Yes, it was very insensitive, but we forgive him. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people that feel the exact same way as Shannon. I also think there's going to be a lot of people that are forgiving. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that have got very, very strong relationships with Drew Brees that they can weather this storm because they've got an incredibly good relationship with Drew Brees and they know his heart. Drew put himself in muddy waters, man, and he's going to have to deal with the consequences of it. And I'll agree with Shannon on one thing. Okay. It's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the exact same. There are going to be guys in that locker room that for sure will feel differently about him forever. Forever. That's just the way the world works.
They won't buy the apology.
Well, whether they buy it or not, DMac, we've all been in fights, whether that be with our significant other or somebody else, in which they apologize for something, but you're still mad, right? Of course you're still going to be upset by it. There's going to be teammates that are in that boat, so I don't disagree with Shannon on that. But I also think that human beings make mistakes, and if you know that person and if you believe that person for who they are and who they're telling you they are, and they genuinely step up to the plate and they don't issue excuses. We've all read the apologies that are just excuse after excuse after excuse, and then they say, "I apologize if I offended you," right?
Yes.
Well,
right.
That's different than a true apology in which somebody steps up to the plate and says, I was wrong, and I need to learn from this, and I will learn from this. And I think that there are going to be a group of teammates that are going to kind of feel that way as well.
Okay, Jake Fromm. Drew Brees at near the end of his career, Jake Fromm just at the very beginning of his career. You said earlier that you think the Bills should just let him go. Why?
Yep. Just move on, man. The timing of this is – there's never a time that is acceptable for racist behavior, number one.
All right, but hold on just for a second. The Buffalo Bills also have Josh Allen, who said racially charged things when he was in high school, I believe, and it came out later.
Right. Well, you know what? We've talked about this issue many, many times, DMac, that The quality of the player will increase the amount of distractions you are willing to put up with. Okay, that's just the reality of the NFL, and I'm not saying right or wrong. That's just the way it operates. And when your first round draft pick does it, you've got a little bit more leeway. And I'm not saying that's right, that's wrong. That's just reality, DMac. And Jake Fromm, you've got nothing invested in Jake Fromm. It's a fifth rounder.
It's a flyer.
So if you're looking for an excuse, you don't have an excuse, like just move on. In a time like this, you can't have stuff like that. You can't. I mean, that is outright racism. I mean, I know people will disagree with me on this with Vic Fangio and with Drew Brees. In my mind, I think those guys made mistakes. And there's a difference between making a mistake and not fully being educated on a subject and having outright racist behavior. And Jake Fromm's was outright racist behavior.
This is DeMario. And by the way, the Bills have put out a statement saying, I mean, it looks to me like they're it looks to me like they're not going to let him go. Although I'll tell you this, Tyler, things can change, and depending on what the temperature is in the room and what the vibe is, we shall see. But at this point, it looks like they're not going to let go of Jake Fromm. In terms of Drew Brees' teammates, here is Demario Davis, what he said.
What I will say about Drew, the reason that was upset, people were upset the first time, was because he didn't speak towards racism and he didn't speak towards the plight of the black community. And that's what we had hoped he would have elaborated on the first time. But what I can say is Drew showed the ultimate move of a leader. He owned his mistake. He owned his mistake and he moved the conversation back to the issue, which he should have spoke on the first time. And when you see Drew Brees come out and say, you know what, I missed the point, but now I understand my mistake. That's the essence of a leader. And I think that's a model for all of America.
So not quite the Shannon Sharp rhetoric, right?
Right. Well, and here's another one. Teron Armstead, left tackle for the Saints. He said, I could have easily gotten on social media and attacked Drew Brees yesterday, but I chose not to. He wanted to wait until he could speak with Drew Brees in person and communicate with the team about the issue before he came out. And he said his comments were extremely insensitive, dismissive, and flat out disappointing. But knowing him personally and his character, I decided not to do so and address things internally. Speaking with him and a few of my teammates, we know that accountability and responsibility is the only way to move forward from this. The message has to be clear. The stance has to be clear. Time to put our words into action. It goes on, but I mean there's an example of something that I was trying to. There are guys out there that know Drew Brees and they know his character.
Yeah, Michael Thomas was very critical of him, and he's issued a tweet basically saying it's time to move forward. And my brother made a mistake, and I accept his apology. Let's move forward. Michael Thomas put that out too.
Yeah.
So, but in the back of their minds. It's probably hard to forget. It's a fascinating situation, and we'll see with from where it goes, and we'll see what else Tyler pops up. It's just we're just in a different world.